Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing today? Sorry, just having a little this thing with my laptop. Don't know why it just went freezing on me right now. Okay. Let's just share the. We'll just give. Thank you, guys. Everybody is quite early, so this we just have 1 minute to the meeting, and we have quite a number of people here. So that's really good. It shows our readiness to learn today. So would be just waiting for a couple of minutes before we fully kickstart our meeting, right? And before we introduce our speaker. So yeah, just give us a couple of minutes and just let some people join in, and we'll start the meeting. Thank you, guys. All right, just this is we have about 1 minute to go. So thank you guys for joining in for today's meeting. Great. If I thank you guys. Oh, good. I'm excited to be here. Great. Yes. Just before we go, right, or before we start, I remembered when we. How many of you remember this story of MMM? You know, I don't know if you remember that day of that period of MMM. Of course, for those that don't remember MMM, it will be probably similar to. I think there was a scheme like that. Yeah, of course, it is scam. There's a scheme like that that just happened recently. Cybex, I believe CBEX or something like that. If I can remember, right? And I think I was in school that period. I shared that on my status recently. I don't know if I shared it on my status. Okay. So I was in school. I don't know if I was in my final year or 500 level then, MMM, we had some couple of money there. I think I and my roommates. And we're like, oh, how can we make money? How can we make money? And MMM was the main thing. I think you put some money there. They tell you the money will grow in 21 days, something like that, right? Um, and so I can remember one time we're now going for our community posting, in Ogun State then. That was when we started hearing these whispers in the bus. That MMM don't crash you, MMM don't crash you. I remember I was sitting with my friend, which we did together. The guy was telling me, yes, yes, MMM don't crash. I said, I lie. That was like probably the longest road trip I've ever taken in my life. So, but today we're having another MMM, but this one is not bring your money. All right, we just need you to listen to what our speaker has to say today. Right. So the MMM today is mindset, monetization, and multiplication. Mindset, monetization, and multiplication. All right. So yeah. So of course our speakers will soon join in. He's just trying to sort out um his internet. So why first of all I want to appreciate everyone that's been part of our meeting. We've had a couple of webinars. The first webinar we had, I think it was on resolution, turning resolution to reality. We've had webinars on money, Money Matters. We've had webinar on thinking global, acting local. We've had another one on value is the new currency. And now we are talking about mindset, monetization, and multiplication. Just before we start, right, it's always good to come with an expectation in the sense that, sometimes you might hear a topic is because sometimes you probably have an idea. Okay. So, or you probably just feel like, oh, is there something to reinforce my knowledge in this conversation or in this webinar? So I just give one or two people just an opportunity. What are you expecting into this webinar? Of course, there's no right and wrong answer because what you are expecting might be what you're actually expecting, okay? And it might be more than what you're expecting. Hopefully, the webinar will be more than what you're actually expecting. So I'll just give just maybe a minute or two of someone to just say, what are you expecting to this webinar? Is there anybody that is happy to say something? What's your expectation for today's webinar? Anyone? Or if you don't want to say something, can you just put it on the chat so I can see what's the expectation for today's webinar? Okay. Someone says I want to learn how to properly. Let me just check this chart. I'll just open the chart here. So someone says my expectation here is to properly put my knowledge into use. Someone also says expectations are high on receiving light and direction for financial stability and wealth building. Most importantly, I want to network with fellow minds here. That's good. That's good. This is an opportunity for you to network. Um, Particularly we have a community, which we will share at the end of the meeting. If you're not part of that community, you can be a part of that community to network with people. Yeah, another one first says that looking forward to understanding link between person's mindset and money. Gaining understanding about how to multiply is what I am most excited about. And I think this is very interesting, right? I think we are having an idea is not ideas usually come easy. Some might say, oh, really, does idea come easy? But I think okay, to a measure, I think idea comes easy. But the problem is how can you even to start something, comes easy. But how can you make what you've started? How can you upscale what you have started? Is usually the problem. So the ability to upscale is where a lot of people get stuck in, right? If any of you have read this book, From Good to Great, right? And that's one of the emphasis of this book is about how companies upscaling so from probably a good company to a great company, so and that's also for individuals, right? I remember Liz check since a comment by recently, and he was saying something that one of the problem with successful people, one of the problem in sectors is not about ideas, it's about upscaling. So what makes a successful entrepreneur from an unsuccessful entrepreneur is not the lack of ideas, is the ability to upskill. And I hope in this meeting, that's one of the things we would learn, right? We'll be able to learn how to, because the world is all about business in that sense. Even if you feel like, oh, what I'm doing is not a form of business, it's not a business per se, but you must still be able to learn that language, of upscaling what you are doing, even if it's a service that you are rendering, even if it's a, non profit organization that you are running, how to upskill that is something that is very, very important. So So I think that's very important. So how can I bring that my idea, you know, to upscale it to something that can gain traction? All right, I think our speaker is here, and I will just be introducing him. Um, our speaker is, let me just give a short bio of who our speaker is. So I met our speaker this year, and it's been a great day. I would say that conversing with him is really, I really enjoy. It's something I always look forward to. You know, I like what he's doing in this space. You know, in Nigeria, he's a business person. You know, and I like his mindset. Most importantly, you know, when I meet people, the first thing I always try to see is to see their mindset. Okay, and he's someone that I would say has a wealth mindset and abundance mindset. These are a set of people that are not doing things just because of they want to escape poverty. You know what I mean? These are people that are trying to do things because they believe in something. They know that they have an impact. So the Godwin Adekoya is an innovative business expert, a strategic thinker, and a visionary leader with a track record of excellence in business development, leadership, and real estate. He is the CEO and managing director of Gata Construction Limited, where he leads high impact infrastructure projects, and the principal consultant at Inbreed, a business consulting firm committed to helping brands to grow with clarity and structure. He mentors and teaches many youths to become the best version of themselves when he is not working at Gata or Inbreed. With years of experience and a passion for empowering others, he has become a trusted voice in entrepreneurship, leadership, and sustainable business practices. So let us welcome the Adekoya Godwin um, to speak to us today. So I would like you guys to react by, um, putting up some emojis or just something just to receive our speaker. Over to you, Chief.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good
Good evening,
evening.
sir.
Good evening. So glad to be here. So glad to be here. I feel I feel a special kind of joy being here, listening to um, us talking, and I feel so elated to be here. In fact, I feel more elated to be discussing about mindset, monetization, and multiplication this evening. And before we go far, it will not be nice if many people are not also enjoying what you are benefiting off the Thrive grid. So, in just a minute, do you want to share the link to somebody? Just tell them to be a part of this, especially some of your very close friends. Just share the link to them personally. Just forward it to them. Tell them they should join, be a part of this. I just did that also. I just reposted that to my WhatsApp status. You might want to do that and ask somebody to join in now, right? Ask somebody to join in. Let's learn together. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel. Uh, okay. I'm just about to present my screen. All right. Awesome. 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 All right. Can we all hear me loud and clear? Let me be sure that we can hear me loud and clear before I proceed.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, are we done? Are we done inviting somebody? Did you just tell somebody to join in? Have you asked somebody? If you just did, just put an emoji up. Let me know that you have done that. You've asked somebody. All right. Great. 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 Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Manuel. Thank you, Mobunike. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Odion. Uh, thank you, Folua. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Sarah. All right, excellent, great. Now, the reason why I asked you to do that is because our community would not be better off if just you alone, listen, if just you alone is changing, and every other person around you is not changing, you would only frustrate your growth, frustrate your result when only you are changing and the people around you, your community, the people you should partner with, if they do not have the same thought process, if they do not have the same belief, it's only going to end in frustration for you. Because the truth about the dynamics of the world is that the creator made sure that everyone is connected and interconnected together. Let me say that again. The creator of the world made sure that everyone is connected and interconnected. There is no isolated living, there is nobody that is going to live in isolation. So if perhaps you think, oh, I'm just going to learn it for myself and maximize it, and you feel like, nah, people let them do what they want to do, it's just going to end up in frustration, and it's going to end up causing many people not to actually get into the fullness of what they can be. So let me say this: inviting your friend is great, and you should always consider to do that. Now, I'm going to start out with a question. And I like my sessions to be very interactive. So I want you to respond to me. I don't want you to keep quiet on me, and then I want you to also share your feedback with me. Now, if you are born before 2000, that means 1999, 98, 97, 96, 1980. If you were born before the year 2000, can you show an emoji? Just put an emoji, use an emoji, just use an emoji. Okay. I want to know the demography that we have here tonight, because there's something I want to ask. I want to be sure. All right. Okay. Thank you. Shukudi, thank you. I want to know if you were born before the year 2000, let me know. You are given birth to before the year 2000. Just react with an emoji or just drop an emoji in the chat box. Okay, thank you, Precious. Thank you, Toby. All right. Now, if you were born after the year 2000, you were born after the year 2000, I want you to show an emoji. You were given birth to after the year 2000. You were given birth to after the year 2000. Now, let me see your own emoji. We were given birth to after year 2000. That is 2001, 2022, 2023, 2024. Is there anybody here? Okay, Destiny, awesome. Teresa, Sarah. Okay, nice. That's great. That's great. Now I want to ask a question. What was the color of the paint of the house you grew up in? We're doing a Q&A. We're just trying to show you something. I'll show you something. What was the color of the house you grew up in? The color of the inside of your room. Was it yellow? Was it cream? Was it white? Yeah, some yellow, cream. Awesome. Awesome. I want more feedbacks, please. More feedbacks. I want more feedback, please. Was it yellow? Was it white? What was the color? I'm going to show you why I'm asking. Cream. All right. Audience says cream. Chukudi cream. Amabonika says yellow. Ifeolua says cream. Precious says cream. Sarah says sky blue. Interesting. What was the color of the room, of your house while you were growing up? Cream. Interesting. Cream. Cream. Okay. I want more response. Please just type in the chat room. What's the color? What's the color? What's the color? I want to get more input so that we don't, some statisticians will be here and they'll be saying, oh, we didn't get the right demography and the right sample size. Oh, Oluwakemi says brown. All right. Precious also says blue. All right. More response, please. What's the color of the house you grew up? Okay, some said a cream and sky blue. A touch of gray is here. The logo up here, cream. I'm going to show you something. Seriously, cream. Interesting. Now, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Now, mindset, monetization, multiplication. Oh, yours was not painted. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Sky blue. All right, interesting. Interesting. Now, I want to show you, this is going to be the first thing. This is why you're going to pay attention to every single thing I'm going to tell you. Listen, this is why you must pay attention to every single thing I'm going to make reference to in the course of this session. Now, do you notice that everybody, a lot of us had the cream, we had cream color, yellow, brown, something around that range. A lot of us have that same color. I'm going to show you why this conversation is very important. Our parents, when they were growing up, what did they listen to? What did they watch the most? What did they pay attention the most? How many of us agree with me that our parents did watch NTA a lot when they were growing up? They watched NTA a lot. They were always watching NTA. They were always on NTA. Anything NTA, NTA. They want to watch movies, NTA. They want to hear news, is NTA. Everything was literally NTA. Now, do you notice that the brand color, listen carefully now. Do you notice that the brand color of NTA is yellow, cream, and brown? How many of you have noticed the color for NTA is yellow, cream, and brown? Now, this is what many people do not understand. What you see the most, what you view the most, what you hear, what you see, even if you are subconsciously not paying attention to it, forms the larger percentage of what happens in your life and a larger percentage of the decisions you make. Our parents thought they were just painting their house yellow, cream, brown because they felt that was the color that was available, that was what is popular. But one thing they did not understand is that the more they viewed MTN station for their movies, for their songs, for the programs, for the news, the more the color was ingrained in their mind, the more it became a stronghold that they became so used to. But they unconsciously did not even pay attention to it. They were not mindful of it. Every day when they came back from work, what they wanted to do was watch NTA. Whenever they are tired, they want to watch a movie, what they watched was NTA. A lot of the things they did was from NTA. The color was sharp in their mind. The programs was not the thing. But the fact that what they saw every time was those three colors became the substitute or the ground for which they established their primary colors. So everything they loved was around those three colors. And that is why today, many of the houses our parents lived in was yellow, cream, or our generation. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Can we all still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, awesome. Awesome. Now, now, the reason why our generation is a generation that pays attention to white collar is because all we see now, all our mind processes now, are the pictures from foreign countries, Philadelphia, from the New York, where a lot of their houses are painted in similar colors. You have white, you have beige, you have ash, you have something very soft tone. That is what we are processing because of digitalization. We now have the ability to explore other countries, see what is available, what is being done in other parts of the world. We have now downloaded the same thing subconsciously also. Now, all our decision is around all these soft tone designs, all these soft tones color. And yet, somebody is saying that mindset is not important. Mindset is just a figurative thing people talk about and they say that, oh, they just want to bamboozle us and tell us to mindset. They just want to come and give us motivational speaking. It is fully for anybody to believe. It is fully for anybody to think that mindset is just a thing of motivation. It is lack of understanding that will make anyone see and anyone think that the subject of mindset is just a topic to get people energized and motivated. No, sorry, it is not. It is the core of what is happening to you every day. You might not believe it, you might not accept it, you might not have been conscious about it, but everything you see, everything you hear, everything you experience is forming an opinion within you. And my work tonight is to help you realign what your mindset is. Because we need to move into the era of having abundance. We need to move into the era of having many. We need to shift into the era of a dynamic, upward, forward thinking that set us on the trajectory of success in life. Because many of us would not lie. Let's not lie to ourselves. We were not given birth to in a place of privilege. Many of us, in fact, I can bet to say that 75 to 80% of the people seated here in this meeting tonight are born from average family and very poor families. I am one of them. My parents gave back to me. I drank Gary in the first 3 years of my life. There was no baby food. The breast milk was not coming out because my mom was not eating well too. So I came from a family that had little, had barely sufficient. But the truth is, I am not a function of where I came from. Why? Because I was able to reconfigure what my mind was saying and what my mind has seen. I was able to engineer it to begin to see the possibilities and the realness of life that God had presented to me on a platter of gold. And that is what I want every one of us to see tonight. I want us to come with an understanding that tonight, I want to come out of this meeting having experienced a newness. I want to come out of this meeting rethinking and reconfiguring some decisions I've made. I want to come out of this meeting and I want to be a new person making new decisions. Not influenced directly or indirectly by my environment. Mostly, I'm going to do tonight. Can we all agree that that's what we're going to do tonight? All right, if you agree, just drop an emoji. Let me know they're with me. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I want to show us something. There's this guy. His name is Cyril Kolade. Let's nickname him CK. He's a young professional, and he just started out his career, and he got a lottery ticket. And he was asked that perhaps if you win this 1 million naira, what is going to happen? And he was very quick to say that, this money is just for me. I don't really care about any other person. I've suffered enough, and I just want to have a better life. That was CK, who is a young professional. Then there's another guy, his name is Amos Buhari. People call him AB, big AB, big man. And this young guy was asked the same thing because he also goes to the place where the lottery was being played. And they asked him, if you win this 1 million naira, what are you also going to use this money for? And AB was saying that, see, this money, if I get it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'll first give 10% to my church. When I get this money, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I give 20, like another 10 or 20% to my family. They themselves will do okay. They should not ask me for money after that. Once I give them that 20%, then the remaining like 50%, I'm going to make sure that I start a business. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start something. I'm going to do something with it. And then the remaining 20% or 10%, I'll use that to enjoy life. But that 50%, I'll go use that and do business. And this is the reality of two young men, CK and AB. CK had been to school. CK is a young professional. This is CK. CK is a young professional. But the school he had been to did not change how he thinks. He thinks in a personal, he thinks in the first person, he thinks selfishly for himself. He's not community oriented, he's not impact focused, he's not even so much about making enough money. He just feels like, oh, God has given me this money, let me enjoy it. Another one will come. That's seeker's mindset. And there's another guy, AB, not so very grounded in school. In fact, he left school very early. He was in his primary six when he had to drop out of school. And since then, he has been fending for himself. But one of the things CK AB does, different from CK, is that AB would continuously buy magazines, buy journals, and would read. He would try as much as possible to just know what is happening. He was living in a very rudimentary place, but every now and then, this young man would just take a newspaper, read the news, know what is happening in other countries, buy magazines. If he sees, some guys who just throw their books away, and some of his friends that come back from the university, he just picks it up randomly and then studies it. And every time he does that, he has increased his knowledge deficiency, boosted what his insight was. And now AB understands that when money comes to you, it is not just for you to have it to yourself. It's for the community to also enjoy from it. It's also that not just your community enjoys from it. It's also that many people around you sees that, this resource that he has is wisely investing it. And this is going to be the range of what we're going to be discussing about, because many people are either CK or AB. And that's the truth about life. Many people, in fact, I dare to say that some of us in this room are AB, while some of us in this room are CK. Some just want to get money and just get for themselves. Some just want to get money and just see, I don't want stress, just let me live my life. God that provided this money will provide another one. There are people on the other side, they are AB. What they want to do is, this money that I have, what can I do with it? How can I make it grow? Who can I talk to that would help me? That is what they are thinking of. And this evening, what I want us to do, or this, I don't know whether it's morning or evening or afternoon where you are, but now what I want you to do is, I want you to just leave whatever it is you know and just follow me on this journey. The concept of the mind is very powerful, because many people who are born from even humble families do not know that their dominion or their excellence in life is not limited or is not constricted from the family of their birth. Many people do not understand that they can, from the age of 20, for those of you who are born after the year 2000 rather, after the year 2000, if you were born after the year 2000, pay more attention to what I'm about to say. They do not know that being a very young person does not stop you from being in the global space. A man recently died, was assassinated, Charlie Kirk. And from the age of 18, this young man understood that his age does not limit him. He understood that his lack of money or finances does not limit or stop him from getting to the crux or the height of his career or the apex. Because we have a lot of doctors here. I've seen my personal doctor here. Because you want to get to the apex of your heart in the terms of purpose, they do not constrict themselves and say to themselves that it is impossible for me to achieve these things because I'm young. They tell themselves that this guy, Charlie Clerk, told himself from the age of 18 that all he needed to do was constantly renew his mind and be vocal about what he believes in. And this young man at the age of 32 was able to sit and gather world leaders, was able to connect with those who were way out of his league, only simply because of the decision he made when he was 18. I'm coming to us this evening to tell you that the decisions you make, the impact you have in life is dependent on what your mind processes and creates. The money you don't have is not because you're not working hard. The truth is that some people who are not even working as hard as you are, that are earning a lot more than you do currently earn. It is not the function of labor that determines profit. Oh, you will labor, but it is not to the degree of how much you suffer in that labor that will determine how much money will come to your pocket. Especially Nigerians, let us hear this. It is not the degree of your suffer that will determine how rich you will be in life. You can suffer a lot and still end up in perpetual poverty. You can suffer a lot and still cry for money tonight and nothing will happen. You can suffer a lot and still go to church day and night and pray tirelessly and nothing will change. Not because God is not merciful, but you do not understand the concept of renewing your mind. You do not understand that the mind is the crux, or is the bedrock, or is the foundation from which life is being transformed. A life that is transformed is first change on the level of the mind. So let me use my key points that I brought out here. I said poverty begins in the mind. Such also wealth begins in the mind. It is not only poverty that begins in the mind, wealth begins in the mind. Whether you are subconsciously or not subconsciously accepting this fact, what you view every day, what you see every day determines the output of your life. So if you're the kind of person that you spend a lot of time on TikTok doing TikTok challenge, you're going to end up dancing like that in life also. When your mates are deciding the future of you, what you will do is be dancing to the tune of the decisions they make on your behalf. Why? Because you have not used the productive time you have to learn and to become who you ought to be. Are we still following me tonight? Are we still following?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. A man cannot grow beyond the level of what he processes in his mind. What you read every day, what you listen to every morning, every day, what you watch every day is creating the script of your future. Let me say that again. What you watch every day, what you listen to every day, what you see every now and then is writing the script of your future for you, whether you want to or not. If you are constantly sitting down, reading people's history, studying the biography and the livelihood of many people who have gone ahead of you, if you're studying what prosperity means, if you are in this event, if you are in the tribe grid, and you're always reading, because I see that Dr. Emmanuel always tries to make sure that there's a book that is being read every month. If you are also one of those people who is actively listening in, who is actively ensuring that I am pursuing labor, I am being diligent, you are writing the script of success. You might not experience the success yet, but you are writing the script of success, but you don't know it. It is not going to be a coincidence in 5-10 years' time if you are among those who are making the decisions in life. It is not going to be a coincidence if in 5 to 10 years' time you're one of the leading figure in the space of your career or your business. It is purely because you are writing the script by actively doing what is right by you. But if you are the person who is always on Twitter doing banger tweets, doing what is trending, you're always on TikTok and Instagram, liking and comment, go girl, oh, you look so good, oh, queen mother. You're also writing the script of your life. Because why? Those people are chasing and pursuing after their own goals and vision. What you are doing is being a banger boy and being a banger girl. And what you are doing is you are vandalizing your future. You are creating an explosive to destroy the output of your life. So it is not going to be a surprise when you get to the future and you meet nothing. It is because when in the present, what you have done is nothing. You have absent-mindedly allowed content creation. You have absent-mindedly allowed people who don't even know anything about you control your time, control your output, control your destiny in the essence. So the script of your future, the question to what I'm asking to you this evening is, what are you writing about it? Do you think that just spending time on TikTok, knowing all the popular songs, is just what is important? Do you think that spending time on Instagram, just scrolling through, you go back from work, I am tired, let me just rest a little bit. From 30 minutes of scrolling, you have spent 2 hours scrolling. You've not even eaten. Oh, you're like, almost already 10 o'clock. I came back since 8. This is serious. So, let me get something to eat. While eating, you are also still scrolling. You did not even take out time to even study your books. You did not even take out time to even ask, what is even happening in my environment? You've not even taken out time to say, okay, what am I adding to my mind today that increases its value? Or what am I adding to myself today that boosts up my value? So the script of your future is written by what you do in this present day. And you cannot prosper beyond the capacity of your mind, the quality of what is entering into it, those books you're studying, those podcasts you're listening to. Oh, I didn't say you should go and listen to Nosmiraj. Pardon me if Nosmiraj is here. I didn't say you should go and listen to Nosmiraj podcast where they are yabbing and abusing each other. No, that's not the kind of podcast I'm asking you to listen to. I'm asking you to listen to leadership podcasts, money podcasts. In fact, listen to things that would boost your mind. Read stories of those who have been successful. See, Ronaldo is a very successful guy. You love sport. Okay, no problem. Why not just read about those who are successful, those who are making the billions and the trillions in that industry? How are they doing it? Don't just like football alone. Study about those who are making it in that place. That is how you are increasing the quality of your thought, the quality of your mind. What your mind would consume is what your life will produce. Oh. If you're not consuming what is going to cause your life to be among the top 10, you cannot be among the top 10. If you're not consuming now, what would cause you to be among the elite? Excuse me, you cannot coincidentally become the elite. Let me tell you one of the things religion has done to us. It has created an illusion that you can just suddenly jump from 0 to 100 because God's grace abounds. Let me tell it to you. Yes, the grace of God does abound, but let me not be religious with you. Let me tell you a truth. Even Apostle Paul said, I studied more than ye all. Even Daniel was found that he studied well and he was diligent about studying. I can prove it to you from the scriptures if you want us to go there. Okay. So that I don't become a fable sayer. Let's just use one scripture. I beg you, if you're not a Christian, but please be along with me. Let's look at Daniel, the book of Daniel. Quickly, I just want to show you that it is not just by prayer. It is not just by grace. It is that these men gave themselves to intense reading, intense studying, and intense devotion to study. All right. Daniel chapter 1 verse 9. It was said that God brought Daniel into favor and goodwill with the chiefs. Yes, that was true. They brought them into favor. God did that. But if you go to verse 17, you would notice and you would see that the same God who brought them into favor and goodwill with people, the kings and those at the top, also gave them knowledge. And as for these 4 young men, God gave them knowledge and skill in literature and wisdom. Daniel chapter 1 and verse 17. Daniel chapter 1 and verse 17. And if you go to verse 20, you would now find out that these young men, in all matters of wisdom and understanding about which the king examined them, listen, in the place of the authority, in the place at the top, it is not money that you use to show workings. Listen, because people have come and, one of the people, one of my role models, Cosmos Maduka, was saying something earlier, and he said, see, those who say money in water is a wrong perspective. And they are fighting. I don't like going into debates online. But let me say this here. When the king was going to weigh all of them, he didn't weigh them based on the money they have. He didn't weigh them based on the money they have. Daniel 1:20, what did the scripture says? It says, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding, that which the king examined them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers who are in Israel. Why? They had understanding and wisdom of literatures and of wisdom. These guys were ardent readers. They studied, they read, they understood many things. So the least sign of poverty is actually money. The least sign of ultimate sign of poverty is that you don't have mental capacity. A man who is lacking mental capacity lacks strength in his mind. So what do I want us to do in this meeting? I want us to give ourselves to a culture of constantly reading. Give ourselves to a culture of constantly checking what we are injecting into our mind. Don't just be very careless about what you listen to, what you read, what you see. Don't just be very careless about it. Be very intentional to ensure that whatever it is you're consuming, be intentional that you are mindful of it, because it is writing the script of your future. So make sure that what you want to see in your future is what you are consuming. You want to be a billionaire? Start reading about the billionaires. Oh, you love Instagram so much, you think you are so addicted to it. Okay, change the content you are listening to on Instagram. Go to the school of hard knocks. This guy interviews billionaires. There are weekends that I just sit down with that guy and I watch like 20 videos, writing down what each one of those billionaires are saying. If you think that, oh, you're so used to TikTok, why not go to TikTok and check for clips of Champion Hill? Go and check for clips of those who have been John Super John, and check for these clips and watch what they are saying. How did they build their mind? The mind is the crux, is the foundation. It is the apex for which anything that is going to be great is going to be produced from. So please, let me beg you, wherever you are, whatever you do, the mind is very powerful. What you are ingesting today is what the mind will turn out tomorrow as your results and as your future. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes,
move
sir.
to monetization now. I'm going to move to monetization, and I'm going to be very brief on monetization and multiplication. Now, because of my time, I promise I was not going to spend beyond the time, but I think I'm way above it now. Now, monetization. When your mind has been fruitful, when your mind has been productive, creating the right pictures, creating the right things, what happens is this. Your mind starts thinking of many good things you can do. It is just like AB. AB did not have money, does not have money. But before he has money, he knows what he can do with the money. AB knows, okay, how can I produce, or what can I produce from all of this? He sits back, he meditates. This is where meditation is very important. That is why God had to tell Joshua, you have to meditate on what you read and what you see day and night. You can read it in the day, you can read it at night, it does not matter. But you must ensure that you are constantly thinking about what you have read and what you have seen. Because the more you think about it, the more value you can create from it. That is what God was telling Joshua. So one of the things many of us do not understand is this. When you have read, when you have studied, when you have listened to that podcast, when you have done that research, the next thing you need to do is meditate on it. Because that is where your money is going to come from. Oh, that is where your money is going to come from. The more you think about it, the more your mind begins to constructively put together details and put together things that would ask, okay, how can we turn this thing to value? What can I do differently? You begin to see loopholes in systems and structure. And let me tell you, this is the same thing that I saw that led me into real estate. Let me give you a very brief breakdown about myself. I studied, for those who don't know, I studied human anatomy in the university, Olabisi Onabanjo University of Nigeria. And I was one of the best two graduating students in my set. And you see, when I finished, I knew I was not going to do anything with my anatomy. My dad has always wanted me to be a medical doctor, but I ain't going there. But I stayed on my path. And I always told him that I'm a business guy. I know I'm going to go into business. Just let me do it. Although what I saw then was consultancy. But the more I began to read about many business, the more I begin to read about many business, the more my mind begins to show me that, oh, there are many opportunities in different sectors. But this is where God is very important. Listen, this is where God is very important. Because God, you need God to be able to unveil and see the fullness of what you can be. You might have a good mindset, but if your mind is limited, even God can need God to be able to direct your step and order your path. So what did I do? I knew many opportunities in different, from transportation to different businesses that I could probably do. Oh, I once had a supply chain. I once did a supermarket business while I was on campus, Padilla Mobile Mall. I did that. It was very successful, very fine. I did some other businesses while I was on campus. So I had opportunity to explore. So I knew that business was not going to fail in my hand. But the question is, what business am I actually going to do? I had the information, had knowledge, I had many things. But the question is, what do I do that will convert to good money? Because there are many things people do that brings in small money. You can use your labor. This is why I say mindset is very important, because when you think, you will see that, okay, some things are just high energy job, but low reward pay. But there are some jobs that are low reward, low energy, or mid energy, and high reward. So what did I do? I started thinking of what are the low energy or mid energy task or labor and high reward job I could actually do. So the more I thought about it, God eventually spoke to me through my pastor and said, okay, you know what, just go and enter the real estate field. And from there, I deployed all my artillery of energy, of resources, of knowledge, deployed it into that sector. And I moved from selling for another person to selling for myself. I moved from buying properties for people to buying for myself. Why? Because I was able to see that, oh, there is a problem here. There is something that I can do differently here. Most times, what we need to understand first is, where do I need to be? And this is the discover in what many of us have not discovered. We've not discovered what exactly can I do in this field? What exactly am I supposed to be doing? The scripture, mind me, I love the scripture a lot. The labor of fools, they say he wearies them. It is not that fools don't labor. Listen, they said the labor of a fool will weary him. It is not that the fool is not laboring. The fool is working hard. That is why I say that it is not the degree of your labor that determines your success in life. Because fools also labor. But the labor of a fool will weary him. Why? Because he has not discovered. That is why he's a fool. He has not discovered what exactly he needs to be doing. So yes, you might have a positive mindset like AB. AB is a guy who had the positive mindset. But he's living a tattered life. He is not rich. He does not have the good things of life. Why? Because he has not discovered yet what he needs to focus on. He does not know the path on which he needs to go through. This is a big conversation because discovering what you need to do is another topic entirely. But once you are able to discover it, and this is the place where I say that, see, there are many ways to discover it, but the ultimate way I can tell you is go to God in prayers and tell him, open my eyes that I can see. When God opens your eyes to see, and he opens your ear to understand, you will not become a fool any longer. You are now wise because you know this is the labor I'm supposed to work on. So instead of doing many things over many years, and listen, this is one of the things we need to get very right because we are young people. We need to get this very right. I lost my mom about 3 years ago. And while she was a teacher in the public school, and while I was processing some of her documentation, I found out that my mom was earning less than 250,000 naira for somebody who has been working for over 20 years with the government. And it took me just 2 years post-university to earn the same amount monthly. So what it took my mom 20 years to get every month took me 2 years to get every month. Why? Because I discovered quickly the path I am supposed to be on. And this is one of the things we need to get right in this time and in this generation. We don't need to have to labor so hard. Labor is going to be there. You're going to work hard. You're going to work. Don't get me wrong. But you're not going to do work like a fool. You're going to work like a wise man. Why? Because you understand where you should be, the domain, the place that God has destined for you to be. Peter was a fisherman. He was making harvest. But God said, see, there's a limit to what you can do with fish. Let me help you because the fishes that you can actually get are men. This men will prosper you. He diverted his resources, energy, and this man became a man that was known throughout many generations. Before that, a large number of people get a good amount of money because the larger the number of people that know you, the more the people that are going to buy from you. So what God was indirectly telling Peter was expand your business, expand the origin of the capacity of your value creation, expand the of your monetization income. So the young man was a fisherman, but it translated to a fisher of men. And so God wants you to be. When you niche down on the that our parents used 15 to 20 years to get. And this is one of the things I teach to people closest to me. When I saw my mom's script, I saw the labor of 20 years, and I saw how much she was earning on a month-to-month basis. I told myself, this is not the same way I'm going to live my life. And that singular decision I made catapulted many decisions I needed to make. And I can say this to the glory of God, that I have grown at least 5-10 times above that figure already on a month-to-month basis. So on this one, your mind is important, but you also understand that you need to narrow down and find which part you need to be on. The part you are going to be on is different from the part your friend needs to be on. Don't copy your friend, don't copy the people around you, don't copy what people are saying. Because many of us are not content creators because many people say content creating is the next thing. Many people are going into tech because many people are saying tech is the next thing. No, listen. Carpentry is still going to be the next thing. People are still going to make furniture. People are still going to watch TV. So the people who are going to build that furniture are still going to make a lot of money. People are still going to live in houses. Bricklayers are still going to make millions. So don't think that, oh, it is what people are saying that is the next thing. No, it is what God opens your eyes to see that is the next thing for you. So monetization, remember to find what exactly you need to do, where you need to diverge your energy heart, what you need to chase. Don't chase money, chase purpose, chase the fullness of who God has created you to be. Because only then will you not labor like a fool. Because what it will end at is that you would only have very little of everything God has proposed for you. Listen, when I knew that God had an unlimited resources for me, I told myself and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to enjoy this to the fullness. People are complaining that Adekoya is rich. They don't know about the Adekoya Godwin yet. Because I am not going to hide my own. Because the resources God has created for me is enormous. So people can have a myopic mindset and think that, oh, it's just few, it's just more. Okay, that's your own business. When is your own turn? Do it like that. For me, for you, we must have a different opinion. We must have a different mindset. We must have a different perspective to it. And I pray God will help us in Jesus' name. I'm going to speak about mindset in 5 minutes. My time is up. Multiplication in 5 minutes. Listen, when God has shown you where you need to be, one of the things you need to understand is this. God also wants to multiply what is in your hand. That is why God in the beginning of the word says, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. That was the instruction he gave us in the beginning. God wants to take what you have from 1 to 100, not from 1 to 2. God wants to take what is in your hand from 1 to 100. But God cannot do it except what is within you, it comes to its fullness. What is within you comes to its fullness. God cannot take what is within you to 100 except that which is within you comes to its fullness. So one of the things I need you to do is, by the time you start laboring as a wise person now, when you start laboring as a wise person, listen, pray that the grace of the Lord comes upon what you are doing. Listen, pray that the grace of God comes upon that which you are doing. To multiply a thing is not just mental. It is more of spiritual than it is mental. Let me say it again. To multiply a thing is more spiritual than it is mental. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But to take a thing to its next level is not just what you sit down and say, how am I going to strategize? Listen, I'm a strategy. I have a business in strategy consultancy. So when it comes to strategy, I can sit down and deploy many innovative thinking. But I can tell you for a truth, in all of my innovative thinking, I have never for once been able to multiply the works of my hand by myself. It is the breath of God that brings multiplication. You can do many things. Listen. You can do many things. You can be diligent. You can be hardworking. You can get everything right. But taking it to his next level does not come. Listen, does not come by just your hard work. And that is why this wise man, Paul, said, see, I have planted, Apollo watered it, but it is God that gives what? Increase. Let me say it again. I have planted, Apollo watered it, but it is God who gives what? Increase. The man has seen the trajectory of many things he did. This man was planting, doing many things. Like Solomon also, he was venturing into many things. In the day, he was planting. In the night, he was planting. In the midnight, in the midday rather, he didn't stop. He was doing many things. He was pouring himself out to all of the things he was doing. He was giving himself 100% to the things he was doing. Listen, he was doing it. That was stewardship. He was doing it. God saw what he was doing. And he said, okay, you know what? This guy is really, really consistent over time. This guy is really doing the work. Then he gave him increase. That's what Paul said. I labored, planted, Apollo water. But see, the increase you are looking for is only God that can give it. And this is one thing many people have failed to understand. And that is why they struggle a lot. They do many things. They try to do a lot of things. But they forget that, see, you need to first do it and do it well. You need to first do it and do it right. You need to first do it and do it consistently over the time. Only when you have done it will then God bring increase upon it. And listen, the strategy of increase is usually you first seek the face of the Lord and say that which you have created, breathe upon it, cause it to multiply, cause it to increase. And let me beg you, if you are under the sound of my voice tonight and you're listening to what I'm saying, I want you to take this as a feedback. Let God multiply your effort and your impact. Many of us want to do many good things. Yes, we want to do many things. Want to have great accomplishment. And it looks like we're already on the track because we're already having the result, we're already having the possibility. It's looking like it already. Let me say this to you. The devil is not going to sit down idle and want you to enter into the multiplicated fold of what you have. He's going to want to stop you. One of the things you can do early is start praying from now and tell God, God, multiply the works of my hand. Help me to remain humble. Help me to remain humble such that I will be diligent to continue to do that which I am doing. One of the pitfalls of many people who should have gotten to the apex of their life and didn't get there is simply because while they were doing what they were doing, pride came into the picture. At the point of multiplication, God saw pride and he said, this one is not serious about what he's going to do. He thinks that all he's doing is for his glory. All he's doing is just for himself. And God says, see, let him still be laboring. He's not yet ready for multiplication. And that is why some people are in that from having increased impact, increased influence. Because you would find out that why is a guy like this? They're supposed to be known everywhere, just very known in just very limited places. These are some of the pitfalls. You might be diligent, you might be consistent, but ensure that you are faithful to the end. The Bible says, Romans 8 verse 19, the word awaits for the manifestations of the sons of God. The word is waiting for you. When your mindset is great, when you already have the monetization mindset to create wealth and to create value for your economy, God is waiting for you because he needs people. One of the reasons Jesus had to be taken away from his place of birth was because when God looked at what Herod was going to do, God knew that this Herod was going to alienate the old generation. And God did not have anybody in government. He did not have anybody who was rich enough to say, Herod, don't do that. He didn't have anybody to call Herod to order. So he had to tell him to run. So God is waiting for you and I because God needs you and I in power, in the place of influence. The mindset you are having is because God wants you to be in place of authority. God wants you to be an affluent man that can determine and shape the system of the world. Many people are complaining about Bill Gates. Many people are complaining about the richest Elon Musk, complaining about many people that they are doing many things. Why are they doing this? Because they have the resources, they have the money, they have the power. When you two have the power and you have the right mindset and you have the right attitude, God can also use you to reshaping and to reculture many things that are actually wrong. But my main aim tonight is to help you see that the mindset of the great is possible. You just need to feed on the right things. You need to stop being nonchalant about what you eat, what you put into your mind. The frequency of what you inject into your mind determines the quality and the speed and the fastness of the reality that would come forth from you. If every day you are renewing your mind, if you renew your own mind every hour, it is not going to be long, no longer long, before you begin to see many new things coming forth from your life. So tonight, I'm just going to ask us to pray this in just 10 seconds and just say, God, renew my mind, reveal my gifts to me, and multiply the works of my hand. I want us to say that together. God, renew my mind, review my gifts to me, and multiply the works of my hand. One more time. God, renew my mind, review my gifts to me, and multiply the works of my hand. So that brings me to the end of my session this evening. Thank you very much for having me, Tribe Grid. Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel and Dr. Bonike, for inviting me. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that conversation. This is very great. Thank you. That's the first part of the conversation. The second part of the conversation is actually going to be questions because we want a lot of people to ask questions because I know if Sir Godwin continues talking, he has a lot to talk about. And so I remember in our conversation, one of the things is that we want people to engage, ask questions because when we talk about mindset, multiplication, and things like this, sometimes it's always good to bring it home, so that it will be very relevant to you. Okay. And so we have that opportunity to, have questions, to ask questions that are more relevant to you. But just before we, everybody engage in questions, right? And I'm just using this so that you can start thinking of your questions. If you are shy to ask your questions, you can put your question on the chat group, right? That's the in-call message of this Google Meets, okay? And I'm going to we can ask that. But if you are bold, which we want you guys to be bold, if we are talking about money, we are talking about multiplication, it's bold people, So I'm expecting that people on this group are bold. If you are afraid of asking questions, are you sure you'll be will you be bold enough to handle billions? So I want to encourage everyone here. If you have a question, please be bold to ask that questions, right? And one of the things we are creating in this community, we want to create billionaires. We want to, in fact, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you something. I woke up this morning and thank you, Sir Godwin, for talking about podcasting. Very important. Very important. So this morning I woke up and I was listening to one of the people I usually follow, Kole Shoringham. He's holding a meeting in London. I was like, I need to attend this meeting. All right. So it's like a prelude towards the meeting. And he was saying something, and he was talking about the trajectory of nations or the world when we talk of wealth, just like I used to tell people, it's not good. There are people that criticize with like the 1%. There are even people that have movement against the 1% people. But do you know that the 1% people are becomes the standard of wealth in 50 to 100 years, in 20 to 50 years, not even 50 to 100 years, in 20 to 50 years. So if you criticize that, you will definitely find it difficult, to be able to catch up when it comes to that. And this is the example, just like we say billionaires, millionaires, thousandaires. There was a time in the nation in the world where it's just a country that can be worth in value millions. And after a while, it moves to the point where um we started having companies that worth millions. And after that, we had individuals, and those individuals become the 1%. Then after a while, we get nations that have they worth billions in value. After that, we start having companies that worth billions in value. Then we start having individuals that are having billions, and those individuals become the 1%. After a while, we have nations that worth what trillions, and we start having companies that worth trillions. Then after a while, we start having individuals that worth trillions. And this important thing is here is that right now we have countries that worth trillions because the US, the Russian, they are worth trillions. We have company, Amazon itself has just a cash flow that is sitting down, like not used for their this thing. They have over 1 trillion just in dollars or sitting down. So you can imagine, and very soon we are going to have, I'm not sure, I don't know the latest value of the richest man, but we start having people that will be having trillions. So trillion will become the 1%. Do you get what I'm saying? In the next 20 years, do you get what I'm saying? We have people that's why you are saying the West standard will no longer billion, it will be trillion, right? So things are evolving, So you need to open your mind to hear things. So, and when I finished hearing that, I jumped out of my bed and I was telling my babe, like, you know what? No, we used to say that billions is the next goal. I said, never will let it that way again, because after 20 years, we're already having people that they are getting to that mark. Before you know it, the 1% in the world becomes trillion.
So you need to elevate your mindset. All right. And one of the ways you elevate your mindset is by hearing. All right. Is by hearing, is by seeing. All right. A lot of people, the a lot of ideas come to people. In fact, many ideas that come to me, you know, will probably come to another person. Another idea, for example, Elon Musk. I'm sure he's not the first person that had this idea that he's doing, right? There are many people that are great right now. They are not the first people that have that idea. But one problem is the thing is about the unique thing about them is how they've interpreted that idea. Okay. And the way you interpret an idea is usually determined by the resources, that is around you, particularly the inward resources. For example, if you tell someone that, oh, if you, for example, if you tell someone that, oh, you can start selling stuff, the idea somebody will have, oh, I can be making 1,000, I can be making 2,000, I can be making 5,000. Another person sees that same idea and like, oh, I can make 1,000,000. The reason why this other person is interpreting it that way is because of the inward resources. So a lot of times the problem is not ideas, the problem is how we interpret. And the way you interpret is by what you have, by what you have seen, what you have interacted with. Well, if you wake up in the morning, right, and all you are seeing is and that's why things like I hate when I hear my daily 2K. How can you be saying that? It's a joke, right? But when ideas come to you, the way you interpret it, it will be at that level. I have to tell people, Yoruba will say something, ere láti mọ òtítọ́. You might think that what he's saying is that, oh, it was out of play, you make truth. No, but what he's actually saying is a lot of things that shapes us comes unconsciously. When you are playing, you just play unconsciously. You're not really, you just think it's a play. But your thoughts, your mindset is being shaped by it. So I'm doing my daily 2K. When an idea comes to you, you will not think of billions. Because that's your idea, that's the level, that's the resources that you're interacting with. So very important. Thank you so much. Sir Godwin is a very book. I love people that read books. In fact, I remember on my birthdays, there are some of the people that were with me, and I was telling them, oh, gift. I said, buy books for me. And let me tell you one secret. One of the things that endeared me to Sir Godwin, I don't know if you knew. I saw recently on one of your status, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and you said that you bought a book worth of 250,000 at one go. And I was like, damn it, I love books, but I've not bought that. I've not bought that at a go. Last month I bought a book over worth 200,000 because I couldn't leave my mind. That somebody will go and just buy that amount of book, right? So it's very important that you read. It's very important you pay attention, watch podcasts, be in this kind of webinars. And so just before the next question, I want to ask you, Sir Godwin, right, to give 3 book recommendations.
Yeah.
All right. 3 book recommendation: 1 in mindset, 1 in multiplication, and 1 in monetization. Just 1, book in this stories.
Okay, thank you very much, Demano. All right, when it comes to mindset, the book that comes to mind easily for me, I would ask anybody to read is The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Please, you see that book, it changed the configuration of my mind when I faced a very difficult situation in life. Because see, you can have a very good thought, you can have a very good mindset, but you face challenges. And this is one of the reasons why I keep inducing myself with knowledge. I keep injecting knowledge into my bloodstream, such that when I'm faced by any opposition, I have something I have injected into my bloodstream that can fight that disease. It's like my white blood cell. I have created enough of it that will fight it when it comes. So The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, that's the first book I'm going to recommend when it comes to the mindset. Now, when it comes to multiplication, I'm going to recommend the book written by my mentor and spiritual father. His name is Apostle Niyi Makinde. You can get his book via his website, apostolniyi.com. apostolniyi.com. The title of the book is Multiply. That's the title. multiply. Please, you see, that book, it will teach you how to see things, how to push the hand of God. There are things that we need to understand that indeed it is God who brings multiplication. But you can also push him. You can also do certain things that would cause God to multiply what you are doing and speed it up. That was what Solomon did. Solomon, in one day, offered an unthinkable amount of sacrifice, and God was moved. That was how he multiplied his net worth. So that was his strategy. All right. The author of the book is Niyi Makinde, Niya. Makinde is Makinde. Apostle Niyi Makinde. You can Google that. Apostle Niyi Makinde multiply. That's the title of the book. Now, when it comes to monetization, converting what the value you have, now there are many books I would want to recommend in that area, because it's let me just recommend one of these latest book. I'll recommend the latest book, Dream Big. Dream Big, and this is why. He's an African. He's someone from our origin. I want you to read a book that was written by someone who had gone through our kind of life, our kind of government. Do you understand? So that when you want to say it's because he's a white guy, you will see that no, this one is not. Despite the fact that he even had privilege, he still faced some things. So, Dream Big by Uncle is my uncle, Uncle Femi Otedola. No way, I claim great people. So he's my uncle. We have a lineage of wealth, so I'm connected to that lineage. So get that book, Dream Big by um, Femi Otedola. Powerful book. It will change the way you see things. In fact, it will change the way you see government. That's the truth, because it will help you see that, okay, you see, there's a way to deal or undo government. There's a way to manage them, even the ones you don't agree with. Because let me tell you something. At a point in my life too, I also struggled with the fact that I'm going to deal with government officials and interact with them, because I'm like, these guys are always corrupt. But see, the truth is, we would deal with them. We would, in fact, we even get contracts from them. They will appoint hospital positions, and you must be very comfortable with it. So, this book will help you understand many things you need to see and many things you understand. I hope that's fine. I hope the book recommendations are okay with us.
Thank you so much for that. Now that
Yes,
we've,
sir.
thank you so much for that. Great. Does anybody have a question? People that are billionaires right now, all right? If billionaires, people that are billionaires, can you ask your question? Don't be afraid to to ask question. If you have a question, you can mute your mic now, all right, and ask your question. Wow. Okay, yeah. So go ahead, Ife.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
Um,
evening.
evening.
yeah, so before I don't have a question, but I have a comment, right? And when I was mentally prepping for what I was going to say, I almost started by saying praise God, because to me, this did not just feel like a conversation. It actually felt like a revival. And I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to partake in this amazing session. Like, before I even say anything, I want everybody in the comments to give a round of applause to Mr. Godwin. Like, let's give him a round of applause. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you. So, the thing he said about our mind, unconsciously, we think in a lot of things and we don't even know. So, for a while now, I've had to be on the move. Like, I've been in transit, and if you know one thing about Lagos, is that there's always traffic, right? And in those moments, there's always like background noise. If it's not music from somebody's shop, it's the blaring of horns, like there's just always so much noise. And unconsciously, there's this certain spot that always plays vulgar music, like just all those rag street music and all of that. So I don't know how I picked it up. There was just this focus, unconsciously, you guys. So I didn't even know that I had like ingrained it into me. So it was just randomly, sometime last week, I was just searching for something to listen to on Spotify, like I was bored or something, and I was like, this focus song that I've been hearing, let me even look for it. And then I typed focus on Spotify, and what came out was one shakara boom something. And of course, I just knew that I was going to be it. Like I can't even pronounce the name of that shakara something. I just clicked on it, and from the beginning of the song, I just that okay, this is that focus. Ask me what lesson I learned from that song now, not the only thing is focus. So we need to be very careful about the things we allow into our system, both consciously and unconsciously. And I'm even so grateful for this session because truthfully, before like some minutes before joining this session, I just started thinking about it that we have a like less than 3 months before the year runs out. What do I want to um gain before the year runs out? Like what do I want to like I need to invest in myself. I was thinking about it because everybody's always fond of thinking, oh, okay, Christmas is coming, let's buy hair, let's buy shoes, let's think of it. I was like, what am I going to invest in myself before the year runs out? And I was like, let me read some books. Like I was just thinking about it, and then now coming here and then having the practice here ask the question and having the amazing Mr. Godwin give book recommendation. I'm just like I'm thank God I'm at the right place at the right time. And the growth factor as well. Like I'm so grateful. Like my gratitude knows no bounds, genuinely. If you leave me, I'll just talk from now to tomorrow. But let me just say thank you very much. I had an amazing time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kisha, for making this possible. Thank you, everyone.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Thank you
much.
very much, Ife. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Ife.
Permit me, sorry, Dr. Mani, just allow me to say this.
Okay.
And it is to God who deserves all of our praise, all our glory, all of this knowledge, it is God who has given it. And when we thank God, when we say thank you, Mr. Godwin, all I want us to think is thank God for inspiring his mind to be able to think these things and to be able to say these words. That's what I want us to do. That's just what I want us to do. Let's just thank God because it is God who has given us this grace. Thank you very much, Ife.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. If someone has a question, okay, let me just start here with Sarah has a question. You mentioned something about the breath of God that brings. Okay, Sarah wants to go ahead. Okay, yeah, Sarah, you can ask a question. Yes, in Bilodia. Yes.
Okay, my keyboard wasn't misbehaving. I was like, okay, I have a question. Okay, earlier you said we were talking okay on the aspect of multiplication where you said that we should actually pray for the grace of God and everything, and it's the breath of God that brings multiplication, right? So my question was pertaining to like I feel like being like real and everything. Those people who are yes, yeah, billionaires and everything. Is it actually all of them that were like that involved God and everything? Like that was my question, basically.
All right. Sarah, that's a very beautiful question. That's a very beautiful question. Let me tell you a story. And this happened in 2019. I went to meet one of my mentors, and then he was telling me about how important God is. He now told me of a story of two people that we don't know. And one of them is one of the former governors in in Lagos State rather. Do you know that in this man's office space, this man actually insists that every Monday there must be an hour prayer meeting before work starts. I'm not talking about the conventional, let's just pray. No, they invite a pastor that comes pray for them and shares what God wants them to do. And listen, many people see many people see the back end. They see the front end rather. They see what happens in the public, the strategy, the innovation, the do this, do that. Many people don't see what actually happens in the back end before all of those strategy stuff comes into play. We see that, oh, a business comes out and all of those things does well, all of those things. But do you actually know that sometimes some of those people sit down with their pastors and ask questions? Should I go? Let me give you a very, if you're a Christian, let me give you a very vivid example. David would always fight a battle, but before he goes into battle, do you know what he does? He goes to God and say, should I go? If I go, will I overtake? Will I overcome them? And then God tells him, go, you shall overcome. And God gives him the strategy to overcome. Now, you who is not with David will probably see David come out and say, we're going into battle. This is the strategy we're going to use. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And then he tells you all of those things. And then you go into the battle, you win. You didn't see the place where David went to God and asked God, should I go and fight? If I go and fight, will I win? And this is where many of us misses. And this is why I tell people that Christianity is not just a religious thing. It is the main thing that brings people into the fullness of what they can be. So, Sarah, yes, it is very real. Listen, in fact, it is very, very, very real for you to get the blessings of God before you go and start anything. Let me tell you this. God saved me personally from a debt of over hundreds of millions. Why? I had a strategy, I had a plan, and I went to meet my pastor and I said, sir, I want to go and do this, I want to go and do this, I want to go and do this. I'm about to take this step. And he said, don't do it that way. If you do it this way, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Do you know that when he said it, that was when I saw the loophole in what I was doing. And it gave me a spiritual perspective to it. So sometimes everything is not even strategy, everything is not just brain work. Sometimes it's allowing God come into the midst of it and directing and navigating your path. Do you understand, Sarah?
Yeah.
And have I been able to answer your question?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Godwin. Thank you, Sarah, for that question. Is it okay if I probably just add maybe one or two
Yes,
to
please. Yes,
that?
please.
Okay, so I know that sometimes, for example, now all right, lots of questions are coming in, so I'll just be quick, right? Eh, One thing I know is that I know a lot of times, particularly for maybe like religious, we're like, some people are not religious and their ideas, they are wealthy and everything. First thing I used to say, right, is you must know that God, he reigns both for the good and the bad in that sense. What I mean is that
Mhm.
the fact that you are religious doesn't mean the non-religious person would not be blessed, if you know what I mean. There are principles in
Mhm.
this world too. Even if someone that say I don't believe in God, applies that and do that, that principle will work for him because God is faithful. Do you understand? His own faithfulness is not dependent on whether on your good or bad. Do you get what I'm saying? Those ones, there are other metrics for that. So, for example, the rain we fall today, it won't fall on it won't
Yeah.
say that God will not remove the rain from the thief and say, oh, because you stole yesterday, the rain will not fall for you. So likewise, also somebody that is, that we might tag as unrighteous or non-religious, if he has an idea, right, and he applies certain principle, even benevolence. For example, Elon Musk and people are saying, recently we heard that he was one of the highest donor for Christ Embassy. Nobody knows that, nobody believed that. Some of these people are way generous. Do you get what I'm saying? Like even people that go to church, do you get what I'm saying? Some of those principles we apply for them. And one thing I used to tell people is that he says there is a spirit in man. That's Job. He didn't say there's a spirit in a godly man. He said there is a spirit in man that giveth in direction, which is the spirit of God. So that means there is a spirit or there's an inspiration in man, right? It's not just an inspiration in a godly man. So there's an inspiration in every man, right? A lot of people have learned to cultivate that ability to listen to that inspiration. Do you get what I'm saying?
whether religious or non-religious, if you can learn how to get, nurture that inspiration, if you apply that inspiration into your daily, in their daily activities like work, businesses, and all those things, they will find out that they will get the blessedness of what they do. All right. So I know that there's that conflict, like, oh, but the people that are all religious, they are getting blessed, they are even at the top tier people, you know. It's about principles, right? It's about principles. God gave those principles there. Of course, I'm not saying that God doesn't bless the works of our hand as this and all those things, but God rewards everyone that apply certain principles. For example, the principle of hard work, the principle of connectivity is for example, scripture says that, oh, the gift of a man will make it a way for him, right? If a
Yeah.
non-religious person was that, do you get what I'm saying? His gifts will do that. So, for example, some of us, you don't want to you don't want to give gifts. Because, but these people at the top, they are very generous with their gifts because they know, For example, let me give you an example now. Why do you think Elon Musk was supportive of Trump? That was a strategy. He had Twitter. In fact, I believe that Elon Musk bought Twitter because he knew that the way I can make this Trump to win is Twitter. So he collaborated this thing. When Trump wanted to move, he was one of the major player in ensuring that Trump entered into the government. Whether we like it or not, what Elon Musk, right, will benefit from Trump administration is so massive. Do you get what I'm saying? So these things, so these are some of the strategies there that even if an ungodly, if in quote or in quote, applies that,
Cool.
you're right,
Yeah.
going to work for them. All right. So I think majorly sometimes we should not just be carrying, oh, the person is not, this thing, and they are getting you. The first things focus on what you are doing. All right. Am I applying these principles of wealth? Okay. If I apply these principles of wealth, if I apply the principles of positioning myself, principles of learning how to give gifts, principles of connection, hard work, idea, these things will work for you. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. Another
All right,
question
all
I
right, all right,
would,
Dr. Mana. Sorry,
yes,
before we
sir.
answer that question, Sarah, the reason why I answered you that way is because you mentioned multiplication. Listen, if you remember the parable of the master who had three servants, he gave each one of them according to their capacity, not according to their spirituality. He didn't give them
Yes,
according
sir.
to how spiritual they were. He gave them according to their
Yes, sir.
capacity. They labored upon it. They did what they should do, applied principles, and then they got results. Listen, the multiplication came. The master giving more to those who already had result was based on the fact that they already have result. You cannot multiply by yourself. That's what I'm. So just understand that. I want you to balance what I said, add it to what Dr. Emmanuel has said also. I don't want you to get it confused. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can produce something. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Is the multiplication part that's very different. Yeah, it's because you asked multiplication as I answered that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel.
Your
Yes, sir.
net, Sir Godwin, your network. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought your
Oh, okay.
network was breaking for a moment. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that.
Oh,
Levy
sorry, sorry.
put something here, which is I think is to corroborate what you have said, and he's talking about. I want to thank you, Mr. Godwin, for this revolutionary explosive release of words. I explained these similar things to people through from the angle of metaphysics. Right. To be very brief, I started something recently. Every morning after morning prayers, I read my metaphysical books for spirituality and mental treatment. Right. The next routine is for me to watch YouTube lecture on circle history that shapes my mind for global influence. Personally, I want to thank Mr. Gordon for this revolutionary explosive release of words. You know, that's really, really great. And I'm happy that what you are doing, this webinar could resonate with that and reinforce those things. Thank you, Levi, for putting that on the group chat. Does any other person have a question? All right, I have a question. Just give me a moment. Um, for example, I know there are quite a number of people here, right? And probably will be rounding up this. There are quite a number of people here that are involved in. They are starting business. They are doing. Some of them are even in business. Some of them are probably in an NGO. kind of thing, or a profit organization, what are the signs, right, that what you are starting, has that potential of monetization? What are the signs that you see that this thing, if you continue this way, this thing will gain traction? Or what are the signs that will tell you that if you continue this way, this thing will not gain traction? For people that are starting like a business or have an idea and they want to monetize.
All right.
So can you
So
hear my
that's going to
question?
lead me towards what's the word now? Business of my network is
Yes, we
acting
can
up
hear you.
badly now. Can we hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So all right, all right. So if you have a business, right? You have a business and you want to know, okay, is this business going to do well? Is it going to be better off? All of that. See, these are some of the things you should take note of. Now, when you start out a business or you're starting out what you are doing, and you want to be certain that this thing is going to prosper at the end of it, what is your metrics? You need to find out what your metric is. Find out, okay, this business I'm starting out, the only way you know it's going to be profitable in the future is on this scale, small scale that you have done it. What are the numbers saying? Do you understand? What are the numbers saying? Now, if you have not tried it out, let me say this to you. If you have not tried it out, you might not truly get it. But simulations, now, this is why I put simulations into the picture. You look at people who have done something similar to it. You ask questions, you take survey, you have a visibility study. Listen, this is a measure of many things, and I wish I could, but I'm constrained for time, so I'm trying to summarize it. So you want to know what is going to work. You need to ask questions from people. Okay, I want to do this. You did this at this time. Why did you have this result? You ask questions, you take note of them. Usually, if you are stepping into something that is very novel, that is something people have not done before, something people have not acclimatized themselves to, you need to ask questions, you need to take note of many things, you need to find out, investigate. Before you do, investigate, try to understand, okay, why is it this way? By the time you ask many questions, understanding will come to you. That's what happens. When you ask these questions, understanding will come to you. You'll be able to figure out, okay, what exactly do I need to do? What exactly do I need to change? What exactly do I need to improve on? I don't know who exactly asked this question, but I'm happy to give you a 30 minutes free time where we can just talk about this in detail. Because summarizing it might not be very clear now because I'm trying to rush. I have another meeting by 8. Summarizing it might not be very clear. But what I want you to understand is if you have a business, you have a problem, and you want to find out what the potential is. And because we need to be very practical here. You want to find out what the potential is. There are many things that are involved in it that would help you know if this is going to be a success or it is not. Because even the business can be successful, but the person leading the business might not make it successful. These are very important things. So it's not limited to just one thing. There are many factors that needs to be put into consideration. Because if the business itself would thrive, but the person running the business does not have the mindset, the capacity to be able to fully engage and put the business to its highest potential, then it's not going to work. I can give you an example. Let me use Nigeria, for example. Ethiopia has an airline. Morocco has an airline. Nigeria can have a airline too. In fact, they said they wanted to do one. But do you know why we don't have one? Leadership. So there are many problems that could cause a business that can be successful to not even reach its full potential, to not even take off. I hope you understand this. So I would do well to you can speak if you are the one. I can do well to spend 30 minutes to discuss this in details with you privately after this meeting. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Dr. Manuel, can you hear me, please?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was, I thought I was speaking. I didn't know that I was still unmuted. Thank you so much for that question, for answering that
Mm.
question. So I think somebody asked about joining the group chat. Yeah, I've put up a link to join the WhatsApp group chat for Thrive Grid on the chat box. I'm just going to share my screen. I know that you're organizing a program in Abeokuta. It's a business event. Are you happy to talk about it, sir, just for a couple of minutes for people that probably might be in that
Um,
environment or might be interested to do that, just to invite them for the business event?
all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Manuel. This is amazing. Um, if you're in the city of Abeokuta, you're in Ogun State, please, on the 7th and on the 8th of November, myself and very wonderful people would be in the city and we'll be discussing about how to grow your business. Like I said earlier, while I was speaking, I have a business consultancy firm. It's Inbreed. The name of the company is Inbreed, where we help many businesses to go from brand ideas to a full blown business. And one of the things I do every year is that I go to cities and I try to liberate the businesses in that city to get to its full potential. So if you have a business or you are business minded or you have a friend or you have something, just come. This is not it's going to be practical, trust me. 100% practical. Last year was a great one in Uyo. We had it in Uyo, the city of Uyo. It was great. We had over 700 people in attendance, very massive. It was the second biggest event in Uyo last year. We're trusting God by the mercies of God that this is going to be the biggest event in Abeokuta this year. Grow your business. We had over 1,700 people already registered for this summit. So if you are in the city of Abeokuta, you are close by, please do well to ensure that you are in Abeokuta or tell somebody to be a part of it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, for that invitation. Thank you so much. Also, Sir Godwin is an author of many books. Uh, I'm sure you can get them on seller.com. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know if you can. Probably what I can get the link to your books later and put it to the group chat and try group chat just so that if, in case anyone wants to get hand on some of his book, lovely books to read. Like we've learned today that you have to educate your mind. If you cannot read books, go for podcasts. Spotify. Somebody was saying something. Traffic. I remember there when I was in Nigeria. Then I wasn't driving right, so I usually when I want to go for long distance, I'm in the bus, I will listen to something, right? So, you probably you are commuting for 45 minutes, 30 minutes. That's a good time to learn something. Just put something in your ear and listen to something that will elevate your mindset. All right. So I hope you guys have been able to learn one or two things, right? And be able to take these things back to the most important thing is acting. It's not just to hear. You need to act on these things that you have heard. So I encourage you guys, right, to go back, act on these things. We'll try and put this video, it's recorded, we'll put it on our YouTube page, Tribe Grid on YouTube. Most likely by the end of this evening, you probably might be able to have access to it just to listen to it again and again, right? And I'll share the link also. It's very important that listen to these things over and over again, engage these things, learn, it's practical, practicalize it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Sir Godwin. Thank you, everyone,
Thank you
for
very
being a
much.
part of this. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. You guys we can end the meeting. You can just put like an emoji, a sign, and thank you, everyone, for coming. Lovely.